Now coming to my favorite section, which is the rapid fire, because there is no pre-judgment, so it has to be very, very impulsive, right? If you were not a business head, you would be, or you could swap jobs with someone for one day, who would that be?
I would be a trekker. I love adventure, I love the mountains.
Suraj, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received? Could be from a mentor, a team member, or even your own friends.
Stay consistent into your efforts, right? Results will surely follow.
Ayush, if you want to rewrite one company policy in India Gate, or you want to change one legacy thing which has been followed over the years, what would that be?
Not a policy, but maybe certain things which could, instill ownership in employees. So something like long-term incentives is, I thought, could be a, very fruitful way of aligning professionals and management towards a singular goal.
Which trend do you think in the industry is overhyped? Quick commerce, AI, of course, and Kiranas being there forever.
I believe quick commerce as of now is overhyped, right?
Describe your perfect recharge day outside of work, no emails or calls allowed.
My perfect recharge day would be, an awesome game at golf.
Suraj, what is the proudest moment of your career, a moment that still makes you smile?
One I was awarded by Ratan Tata. I think that's a proud moment which I still cherish.
You should add one more to the list of launching DMS in so many digital It's a very challenging task. Hi, welcome to Bizom Masters of Change podcast. Today we welcome Ayush Gupta, an inspiring leader who has shaped KRBL into a market powerhouse. With over a decade of experience, Ayush's strategic vision has driven growth in modern trade, expanded the brand's success into e-commerce, and positioned India Gate at the digital forefront of the food industry. Known for building strong distributor networks, launching creative marketing campaigns, Ayush is passionate about using technology to improve supply chains and develop new categories. As a member of the Entrepreneurs Organization, he stands out for teamwork and operational excellence in India's dynamic FMCG sector. I've had the good fortune to work with Ayush about 8 years ago, and what stood out to me was how he always looked for ways to use technology, not just to solve route to market problems, but also to help India Gate lead both in market share as well as digital transformation. Please join me in welcoming the very eminent Ayush Gupta, Business Head of India Market for KRBL. Today we also have a very special guest who will accompany Ayush in the discussion. I am delighted to introduce Suraj Makol, a dynamic sales leader who brings wide-ranging expertise from the FMCG and the telecom sectors. Suraj currently serves as Senior General Manager, Sales and Distribution at India Gate Basmati Rice, the world's #1 Basmati rice brand. Suraj's impressive career spans over a couple of decades, including leadership roles at Vodafone, Tata Tele, before getting into the expansion and sales excellence mode at India Gate. Suraj's talent for building winning teams and consistently achieving new milestones makes him an inspiring guest for today's episode. Please join me in welcoming Suraj Makol, Head of Sales and Distribution at KRBL. Ayush, before we even get into business discussions, route to market discussions and technology, I want to ask a question which everyone wants to know, right? What is the secret behind this name, India Gate?
See, actually, KRBL's vision and mission since inception has been to preserve the pride and grow the legacy of Basmati rice in the world. And it's with that vision that the company has moved forward in promoting this grain, so-called Basmati rice, throughout the world. And it happened so that one of the buyers, I believe from a Middle East country, was visiting India for a plant visit and happened to cross the India Gate monument. And maybe over some chats, while just crossing the India Gate monument, because we were discussing about Basmati rice so much as a true product of India, because it incorporates so much of the soil, the climate, the flavor, the climatic conditions of India into this grain that we call a queen of rice. He said that, why don't you call this India Gate, as a brand name itself? Because the pride of India should resonate throughout the world. And before even India Gate got coined as a brand, because we were selling to Middle East as our first exporting country, and that being the core basmati consumption country for the world, Babal Hind got termed as our brand. Babal Hind in Persian means India Gate. Babal meaning gate and Hind meaning India. So Babal Hind as a brand got coined first, and then subsequently when we started marketing in other parts of the country or world, and other part even in India, we started marketing it on the India Gate.
Well, that's a damn interesting story which I did not expect. I thought it was a marketing experiment. Sounds great. So Ayush, as a second generation business leader in this family business, there are a lot of expectations riding on this role. I have spoken to numerous business leaders and people have told me that while rising to the top is tough, maintaining that market leading position is even tougher. In this scenario, when you stepped into this role, which was almost, I think, more than 1.5 decades ago, what were your initial thoughts? What expectations did you have? Did you even think that you'll end up launching so many successful experiments for India Gate as we know?
See, my entry into the business was, almost certain. It was a large family business, and we were a joint family handling the business. So, it was almost given to me that I have to, kind of enter the business and handle the business along with my other cousins. So, I did not ever have a thought of having a career outside our family business. Obviously, because it was a family business, also mainly dealing in commodities, eventually turned into a branded commodity, and now wanting to get into an FMCG, multi-brand, multi-category business. It was quite unorganized when I entered the business. It took me a couple of years, I would say about 3 to 5 years, to just get the hang of the business, of what really happens, because there weren't any structured induction programs that were, made for us, I would say anyone in the next generation. So we were kind of left to ourselves to learn the business and the ropes of the business. And, it happened so that because I had a lot of interest in marketing, brands, consumer insights, I think those were things that excited me. Those were things that came intuitively to me. What happened was in my initial 3 to 5 year journey, I attended a lot of these, retail conferences that happened, and they still happen. And I spent a lot of time there, and spent a lot of time listening to FMCG company experts on how they handle business and various parts of distribution, various parts of marketing, how they address challenges with sales teams, and how they develop sales teams, etc. And I would say a large part of my learning also came from interviews. I must have taken, I would say, over 200-300 interviews in my initial 3-5 years of people from different FMCG companies, and that gave me a lot of learning of how this FMCG company works. And that really became a bedrock of my thought process that we are a brand, while though in a commodity space, but we are a brand, and the way we are running it needs to get transformed to an FMCG way of working, to a much more organized, much more data-centric way of working, much more purposeful decision making is required in how we are currently taking decisions. So that intuition or that intention became stronger over the years as I learned the ropes of the business. Also, I early managed the modern trade business for the organization in my early years. So that further strengthened my intuition that it can be done. I think that's where the journey started, and it's been almost a decade and a half now that I've been at this task of transforming this organization, and I would say taking it from a commodity to a branded commodity. Now our aspiration is to make it a multi-brand, multi-category FMCG company. It's been quite a journey, I would say.
You'll definitely reach there the way it's looking.
Thanks.
Suraj, you shifted from telecom industry to FMCG. While we know that both the industries are extremely fast moving and both of them need a very agile mindset to thrive, Are there any fundamental differences you've found in both the industries in the ways of working and perhaps the DNA of the industries?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both the industries are, you can say, poles apart, right? So when you say telecom, it is all technology, right? You have a set, a GTM strategy. Yes, you have to put a tower, then you'll get the signal, and then there is a set of team members. You have to, go out, get the, this, retailers and the subscribers. So there is a set GTM strategy, which plays across the region, irrespective of the geography in the country. But when you come to this industry, specifically rice industry, right? It is very dynamic. Every 100 kilometers, the requirements or the needs of the customer changes. Within a state, right? You cannot say a state operates in one way. Okay. One district is consuming a different kind of rice. When you go to another district, they consume a different kind of rice. So one is that it looks very simple, but it is too complex. And so one is the product specifications, which is quite variable. Another critical piece is that versus telecom still you can count the competitors on the fingers, right? When you come into this category, every nook and corner there is a miller sitting, right? From there, in telecom there was hardly 4 or 5 competitor. There are hundreds and thousands of the millers sitting in India, and in such a complex product and such a high intensive competition market, right? How do you thrive? And hats off to KRBL, and maintaining market leadership for last 25 years, right? In such a fierce competition, the way organization and the management has ensured the market leadership, that's tremendous. So yes, quite complex.
Thank you so much. I think most of us don't understand or realize the complexity of India's commodity landscape. Now with so many changing trends, so I think definitely the company has done a tremendous job in maintaining that, in fact, increasing that leadership position. So Ayush, this is one of my favorite industries because there are clear-cut trends to follow, right? One of the biggest tailwinds which we've seen, especially after COVID, is the conversion or the transformation of consumer preference from loose to packaged rice. Packaged commodities in general, rice being one of them. In fact, as per Mintel, almost 31% of the buyers in the next 3 years are expected to transform from loose to packaged. With this clear-cut increasing demand, what initiatives has India Gate taken, one, to capitalize on this trend, and second, how do you change the conversation with the customer from someone who buys loose commodities to someone now looking forward to a packaged, trustworthy rice?
Yeah, you're right. That's a tailwind that we've been, riding on, I would say, for the past couple of years. More than COVID, I would say the advent of modern trade in India was a great catalyst to, to move consumers from loose to package initially. Now we are seeing that wave being ridden through quick commerce, because loose as a category doesn't exist on a quick commerce platform. So increasingly consumers are now choosing packaged over loose. Also, disposable incomes getting increased, hygiene, obviously post-COVID becoming much more imperative and basic as a need. All these are definitely great tailwinds, and I would say India Gate has been a big catalyst themselves through large-scale media campaigns that we've been doing for the past 2.5 years on making this shift possible for consumers. So our brand campaigns earlier with Pankaj Tripathi, now with Amitabh Bachchan. We've been speaking about how consumers should not compromise, with their basmati, and how they should choose packaged over loose, and how that is even a safer option because food is a way of showing love to your family or to your guests, and you don't want to compromise on showing love. So why to buy something which is a compromised product just for a few bucks, right? So I think other than marketing, I would say there have been things that we've done lately, which is a packaging revamp. Packaging should give a consumer much more value, or I would say it's more than a it's more of about a cost benefit analysis. When he chooses a packet over a loose, the conversation inherently was price, which one is better, or which one is cheaper. And what they saw value in India Gate or a packet was just the logo, right? The logo had obviously the emotional connection, the functional benefits, but the packaging did not do justice. So I think we did, almost a year of research with one of the leading global agencies called Landor on our packaging revamp, and we are quite happy. And we see great response from customers on our new packaging revamp that we've done. It gives a lot more information to the consumer to make, purposeful decision on what is the right choice for them. Between a classic down to an India Gate Mini Mogra, there are about 14 variants that we have within our range. It gives an consumer to go through this packaging and choose what is the right variant for them. Other than packaging and marketing, I would say widespread distribution, has been one of the key levers to propagate packaged over loose. Uh, the category currently sells at 6 to 6.5 lakh outlets. Just, I would say 5 years back, this number was about 3.5 lakh outlets. So the packaged basmati rice penetration has kind of doubled in the last 5-7 years, and India Gate has been forefront of increasing this penetration, right? So just the mere penetration or availability of packaged basmati rice, in Indian retail outlets is driving this shift from loose to packaged. But we are very certain of the future, and the numbers that you mentioned about Mintel, we are actually seeing it, get rolled out on ground, and it's really, and we being the flag bearer of this change, we feel that we will stand to gain the most out of it.
So, Suraj, this trend of increasing, as he mentioned, numeric distribution has almost doubled over the past 5 years. This clearly is an opportunity for even further market expansion, especially in Tier 2 plus towns, with the Tier 1 growth coming from quick commerce. But the other towns, of course, we have our Kirana as the backbone of our growth. What initiatives do you see in the future to capitalize on this market expansion?
See, I'll just tell you a little background about this, category and specifically packaged basmati. See, anything which is being sought first, it's sought by the tier 1 or the metro cities, right? Because obviously the paying classes, the affluent classes staying over there. But now, over last few years, we all know that it's a disruption which has happened in the rural. The way rural consumer has started buying, especially post COVID, the kind of focus or the inclination towards the packaged and the quality food that has come from the rural towns. So we have already been working that how do you identify more avenues to grow, and naturally the expansion and improving reach was one. But this rural demand, also, helped us, in building this vision. But initially, it was not easy for us to, build the rural distribution, because basmati is still considered as the premium rice. It's not a staple food, you can say, right? When you talk specifically to the southern and eastern region, it is still it's been consumed maybe on the occasions or a weekly or maybe 15 days kind of habit. So how do you build that? So our challenge was that how do you identify the distributors who can take full truckloads, because our initial infrastructure was a full truckload has to go to all nook and corners, and the kind of pricing of this product is it demands a lot of capital investment by the small distributors, so which was not easy. So then internally we discussed, and then finally we decided to expand through smaller distributor. But then how do you serve those smaller distributors? Instead of a 25 ton supply, you will have to build an ecosystem that ensures a 2 tons or 3 tons of supplies in a particular in 1 month. And also you have to invest in those markets in creating the awareness of packaged basmati, and also start servicing the retail outlets, educating the retail outlets, right? How the quality products are being supplied by KRBL in all the towns, and now we are reaching to you. So, at multiple layers, the investments have been done. Uh, we started by appointing super stockists to serve the rural geographies. Then we further elevated that, the infrastructure by appointing our own depots, right? So initially, the company was having the concentration mainly in North India, and from there only supplies were happening. But today we have, almost 15 C&Fs, company-owned depots, right, which are operational across India. And today we serve almost 850 distributors across India, which was almost 450 2 years back. So a massive expansion has happened in ensuring that the quality products which the organization has reaches to the consumers, and we have seen good growths. And honestly, we were not aware the kind of products the rural consumer would be buying. They have started buying the top variants of our products, right? And we sometimes we checked our internal data. Is it the right data which our system is throwing? And we realized, yes, it is right. The demand was there. Somewhere the reach was missing. So I think building that kind of infrastructure really helped us.
If I can add some things to this.
Yeah.
So, metro towns contributed close to 70% of basmati consumption in India almost 7 years ago. Now that number stands at 45%, right? So that shows that how much basmati consumption has proliferated, downwards in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 towns. And looking at this trend of Nielsen gave us confidence that we need to expand our direct distribution in smaller towns. And while he mentioned a move from 450 to 850, I would say it's a move from 200 to 850 in the last 4.5 years, right? So we've created 600 new distributors in these smaller towns, and obviously supply chain reinvention, remodeling our whole supply chain was a critical task to be able to do this, because servicing these smaller distributors more frequently in smaller truckloads was not an option that we had, because we are only doing big distributors in metro towns as a capability. So last 4 or 5 years has gone into a massive supply chain remodeling to be able to cater to this changing demand in the category. And it has served us well, but I just feel that we are still just at the starting point of serving and growing this demand.
Well, I would like to recommend Discovery for another series, especially on your supply chain remodeling. No, I think it is. Well, thank you so much, Ayush, for that insight. And that is exactly what we at Bizom called real intelligence, right? According to us, artificial intelligence without industry alignment and human intuition is just a gimmick. You saw that data, your people went out on the field, vetted that data, and then you went on that entire expansion spree. So there was a lot of human intuition or gut feel involved, along with, of course, the relevant data. So this is exactly what we mean by real intelligence. And on that line, just coming a little more towards actually managing large sales teams, you have built and now scaled KRBL sales team. Where has technology helped you in doing that? Because it's a challenging task to, one, take care of a legacy sales team and continually add people to it, especially in the face of rising attrition. So how has technology helped you to scale teams and scale growth as well in the face of attrition, in the face of changing trends?
See, when it comes to field teams, right, and so there are two things, which we feel, sitting at the head office, we should be looking at. One is that, how do we help our sales team to perform better, right? That is one. And since, a lot of complexities keep going at a marketplace, and how do you handhold your sales team with the right set of information at the right time, right? I think, gone are the days when, people used to carry the paper sheets, right? And maybe at that time, 3 or 4 level of information was required. But now the kind of SKU complexities, the kind of the order history is there, the kind of competition which is happening at the market. So a lot of information is required when an ASO has to, interact with a particular outlet. And outlets are also now, various levels of outlets. You have an SAMT, you have a wholesaler, you have a retail outlet. So altogether different behavior of the outlets as well. So I think technology has really helped us, by providing right set of information to our sales team, right? To do to place the right products, do the right kind of engagement with the outlet, right? So that we also do not miss any of the selling opportunity. So that is one part. Second, as we have been expanding, the one question keeps coming, in our minds that while it is easy to expand, but how do you ensure the ROI of every single resource, right? So how do you ensure that, that every single resource which is being invested or deployed at the marketplace, is working efficiently? And there a lot of, we have been using Bizom SFA now for last 8-9 years, right? And that has really helped us in driving our sales team efficiency, what time they are entering the market, what kind of, the calls they are doing, the quality of calls they are doing, the time spent at a particular outlet, number of SKUs they are being sold, right? So this has really helped us in driving the people efficiency as well. So today, if I see, it's just impossible for any organization to even think moving forward into the business without taking support of technology, and that too day by day it is improving a lot, and the requirements are becoming more. So I think we can't think going without technology. And yes, today we are with Bizom for last 8-9 years, and when we look back, I think our engagement and the dependence on Bizom or technology platforms is also increasing day by day.
Thank you so much. I would love to ask a counter question on that.
Yeah.
See, when we were trying to do it the first time around, there was a lot of resistance from the distributors, and you're someone who led the entire digital transformation, SFA, DMS, the end-to-end piece, which from a data sanctity point of view is phenomenal. I can totally imagine the productivity or the ROI you've got out of it. But it is a challenging job at the end of the day, convincing and getting distributors to use DMS. How did you manage to do it? If you can share some words of wisdom for all of us.
See, honestly, it has not been easy for us to do so. But see, one way is that you just tell them, okay, this is to be done, right? And in our belief system, does not, allow us to just ask people to just do it, right? We always, believe that people need to be, spoken with logics. What is happening? What is the need of the hour? Where the market dynamics are playing today? What's going to help all of us into the future? So whether it is our sales team or the distributor, see, they have been spending time into a limited geography, and their routine is quite monotonous. They are not exposed to the industry dynamics or what is happening into the outside world, right? So one key aspect which we have ensured whenever we have interacted to our sales team or into our distributor meets, we have always, informed them about the changing dynamics, at the marketplace. We have given them references of other industries, similar industries, and told them the importance, even if you have to maintain the market share, right, how you will have to use technology, right? And over a period of time, by these kind of repeated counseling or discussions with all the old partners or the legacy partners and legacy sales team members, they started realizing. And see, they also see, around them, yes, things are changing rapidly. And when their head office is also talking to the same language, so, everyone get aligned, right? So I think talking them with the logic, right? Instead of just forcing someone to use a particular thing, I think our style has been very, cooperative, or, you can say that we have been just trying to take them along with us instead of just pushing them. So that has really helped us.
It has been cooperative and successful. I think KRBL is one of the first in the industry, rice industry, to do it well. So kudos to that.
Yeah. Thanks.
So Ayush, one big trend which is actually cutting across the food industries, whether commodities or otherwise as well, is the rise in the health food preference, health food consumption preference of our country. What initiatives has India Gate taken to sort of, you know, be a part of this trend?
Yeah, I mean, we see quite a positive outlook, with this growing trend and quite a aggressive growing trend with health, within food as a consideration, and especially in the urban markets. And while brown rice and quinoa is something that has been a part of our portfolio for for almost, I would say, 8-10 years, um, we see that there are a lot of more functional nutritional products that our consumers are now opting for. And that has very recently led to us launching a new brand in our portfolio called Uplife. And within Uplife, our aspiration is to provide functional nutrition uh, through staples to our consumers. And within that portfolio, our first launch so far has been the healthy edible oil products. And within the healthy edible oils, there has been quite a linear kind of a monopolistic competition, speaking only about heart health. And through our research, through consumer insights, we've kind of developed a white space on gut health and weight management within oils, which was never captured by any of the legacy oil players. And I think we're quite proud of identifying this white space, and consumer responses seem to be really great in this new positioning. And while our aspiration is to grow this brand to about a 200 to a 300 crore top line in the next 3 years, our objective really with Uplife is to create a health platform. It's not just an healthy edible oil brand. Our objective within Uplife is to launch multiple categories within the health space and give consumers an option of functional nutrition within other staples. So how can we make their everyday atta more, functionally nutritional? How can we make, maybe things like poha, which currently is just sold as, while a healthy breakfast because of the way it is constructed, but how can we fortify it with other nutrition and make it more functional nutrition? Because the middle class India, the young urban India, which is booming right now, has is living a very sedentary lifestyle. They are not having uh, time for themselves, and it is through these micro meals or through these staple ingredients we want to give them the nutrition that is required. And we feel that this market has potential to grow, and consumers now in urban India are actually looking for such kind of labels, when they are shopping for their grocery requirements.
Well, that's actually a large part of our audience, so you know where to try your next health snack now. Go to Uplife and check it out. Suraj, we at Bizom have already started witnessing that AI is set to completely disrupt two particular business use cases. One is the upsell and cross sell, which our sales rep drive. AI is definitely set to disrupt it with a lot of data, a lot of neighborhood analytics. The second use case, which we feel AI will directly impact, is the way information is consumed by the sales rep. Currently, he has to look at dashboards, he has to look at reports, analytics. That will change. What impact do you see on ground once this technology becomes mainstream? How will it help our sales reps?
See, I feel that a lot of the manual efforts, right, would be replaced by these kind of technological interventions, which is AI. So, see, I can just give you a reference. For an example, historically, for the decades, in the sales ecosystem, The morning starts with either the gate meeting or the con calls of all the salesperson with their team leader or the ASMs, right? And wherein the team leader is telling them, boss, this is your target for the day. You did not do this. Today you are at this beat. You should be focusing this, and so many things. He is telling, and the ASO on the other hand, that poor guy is standing at a road, right, and writing the inputs and all. And finally, after the call, he just keeps that paper in his pocket. Whether he uses that paper at the call or not, all those complexities play. And then in the evening again, when the review happens, then he misses, many actionables. So the ask is very simple, right? If we see, which now can be easily achieved by AI, as a tool when we deploy it in our SFA. It's only the 2-3 specific informations and actionables that any salesperson should be knowing and planning for the day, right? And the way the products which we have seen, which the Bizom is bringing now on the table, how the when a salesman is starting his day, so what has been the performance of the beat previously, right? What are the improvement areas of the beat before you are starting your day? Very well defined specifically. What was the volume? What are the the product specification which you can drive? Then after, when he starts the beat at an outlet level also, the performance of that particular outlet is also being informed at the start of the call. Right. Plus, is in addition to, see, typically what happens that salesman goes and asks, okay sir, I mean, you have been buying these 3 products, tell me if these are stock out at your counter, then okay, please give me the orders so that I can refill the stock. Parallelly, he might not be pitching to the other products which are being already sold by the nearby retailer within the same vicinity by other retailers, right? Today with these AI interventions, the cross-sell opportunities or upsell opportunities, right? Both these kind of 2 different but very important, informations are placed at the time of, the call at an outlet, which ASO can use, right? And icing on the cake is that it is not only something, the ASO has to read, right? This technology is also helping, by sharing the information over a voice tool and also in the local languages. So I think what else you need? I mean, even without a boss, you are always with a boss at every outlet, right? I think all the organization wanted to have this kind of ecosystem. And last but not the least, it is very standard way of operations, right, at the ground, right, across the country, across the region, whatever level of the dissection you have today. Okay, this actionable in this geography, this actionable in this geography. If you have got 50 people working in a particular geography, they have to talk this language. It is possible through AI, right? Another 50 people in a different geography have to use another language and another actionable, possible through all these tools. I think it's going to make our life very easy, and I'm sure this is going to be a game changer in driving the efficiency and overall building the business volumes.
Well, thank you so much. That was a very comprehensive answer.
Thank you.
Ayush, as a member of the Entrepreneurs Organization and having served as the forum chair there, has that peer learning influenced your leadership style as well at India Gate?
Definitely. I think my experiences in Entrepreneurs Organization has been quite instrumental in shaping my leadership journey. And especially the whole concept of a forum within Entrepreneurs Organization, where you get to speak to a peer group, a set of 6-7 business leaders on a monthly basis in a structured format for about 4 hours, a reflection of your 5% of yourself. And when I say the 5% reflection, is the things that you don't speak to anyone about in your life, but in spheres of family, personal and business. You speak about those challenges in your business that are very core to you. You speak about core challenges of your personal life which are very core to you, and similarly family. And when you speak about those challenges, the others in the forum Obviously, it's a very highly confidential, environment. The others in the forum, they respond back with their experience shares. How they have felt in a similar situation at a similar time. What that does over a period of time is open your perspective to things in a very varied way. You start looking at situations. Earlier it was it was more like a road, I would say, yeah, tunnel vision, that you thought about a situation a certain way, but now you got six other perspectives on the same situation, because those people have experienced that in their own lives, but they've seen that situation in a very different way. So that openness to see life from different perspectives, has been, I would say, a transformational thing for myself. And even in my leadership journey in at KRBL, it builds in a lot of empathy, when you're leading, and it removes judgment totally out of the window, when you're speaking to someone, because that the other person who's speaking in a certain way, he would have a backstory to why he's saying things a certain way. So when judgment moves out, a lot of empathy comes into to the environment. And I think that's a great leadership quality, when you're leading a organization, and frankly challenging culture in a particular organization.
Thank you for that. I think that was the best answer so far. Thank you so much, Suraj and Ayush, for this wonderful conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed this edition of Masters of Change. If you have any questions from Ayush and Suraj, feel free to drop in the comments, and we'll ensure that you get these answers. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next episode.